aka Massage Nerd, and this show is brought to you by our friends at Massage Magazine Insurance Plus. Massage Magazine has been exploring touch therapies for over 25 years and has used that industry knowledge to develop the best value liability insurance in the business. And I want to thank Eric Dalton for sponsoring this presentation and offering Massage Nerd listeners to a 10% discount on all his home study courses. Use the code MN10 when you check out at ericdalton.com. And another sponsor is Shalene Taylor. She turned her struggling massage therapy practice into a multi-million-dollar, multi-location success, and now is showing others how to build a purposeful and profitable massage practice. Visit www.iambiz.com.
Welcome, everyone. This is Ryan Hoyme, aka Massage Nerd. And today we have Claire Marie Miller. Welcome, Claire.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm happy to be here.
So we got a few different topics to discuss, but first I wanted to get involved in, how did you get involved in the massage field then?
Well, I used to be an x-ray technician, and I actually got into the x-ray field at 17 and did that for about 7 years. And I wasn't really satisfied with the medical system the way it was. It was challenging. It was very challenging, although I loved much of what I learned by x-raying the body and seeing inside. I also got to do heart casts for open heart surgery at Johns Hopkins. I'm from Baltimore. So I did everything from special procedures, OR work, emergency room work, radiation therapy, ultrasound. So I really got to do a lot of different things. And I think that laid the groundwork for massage. I didn't know massage was going to happen, though. Well, traveling across country in a red Volkswagen in 1978, I got stranded in Boulder, Colorado. Huge snowstorm, 5 feet of snow. And I just had to live there, and I didn't know why. And so it ended up that I decided to go to massage school there. And it's kind of funny how it all sort of happened. But I was able to apply. There were 200 people applying for 40 spots. And so I got into the Boulder School of Massage Therapy and went there for the year of 1979. It was awesome.
Yeah, Boulder is one of the most well-known massage schools, too, in the United States. And it's been around forever and very well-respected and stuff. So
I was very blessed that I landed there in a snowstorm.
Yeah.
People say, how did you go to massage school? Well, it was a snowstorm.
Yeah. With myself, I was actually forced by my mom, so she kept bugging me for a couple of years to get into massage. So you eventually have to listen to your mom. So.
Okay. Well, you know, I would support that.
Yeah.
All about mom.
So did you have your own practice for a while, or did you work for somebody soon afterwards, or?
Well, I was able to. I got married 9 days later and moved to Lake Tahoe with my first husband, who's the father of my 3 children, and he has since passed on. But so I moved to Lake Tahoe and got a job at the back corner of the Golden Key Beauty Salon in the Sahara Tahoe in State Line, Nevada. So my first job was in a casino, which was very interesting. I could tell some stories, but I probably won't. I actually set up the board of massage examiners in Douglas County, Nevada, with Gil Ralston. Some people might know him if they're old enough. There's a show called Have Gun Will Travel with Richard Boone. And he was Richard Boone's drinking buddy, and he was a screenwriter. So he opened a massage school in Genoa, Nevada. And so he and I set up the massage board in Douglas County, Nevada. So we really made some inroads into legitimizing massage in a state where obviously other things are legitimized. So
yeah, because I know quite a few massage therapists from that area, and they said they still get, even though the state's regulated, they still get phone calls and stuff like that too. So it's frustrating for them too still. So
yes, yeah. I mean, I really didn't have too much trouble, but I had a few, and I always knew how to handle it and walk out of the room and leave and go get my boss.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I always screen very carefully. And because I started to lean toward pregnancy, you don't really have those problems.
Yeah. And why did when did the aha moment about teaching classes then? When did that come into play?
Well, again, I just have funny stories. I had a girl, and we went to massage school together, and she was from Lake Tahoe, but she was in Colorado taking the class. We ended up roommates. And so I moved back there also, and she was already living there. We were both out of school now. So she set up this class at the local rec center, and it was called Pleasant Pregnancy. Well, lo and behold, she decides to move and says, "Here, you teach this class." Well, I was newly pregnant and didn't know what I was going to be pregnant when I said I would take it. So I was in my first trimester, and I didn't feel pleasant at all. And so that was my first pregnancy class. That was for the general public. It was a little yoga, a little massage, a little reflexology. That was it. And so I started teaching then. It just came naturally to me. I taught through the Women's Center there. I taught at the local rec center. And I really did start with pregnancy and reflexology right away.
And what drawed you into reflexology then?
Well, there was a class at the Boulder School of Massage Therapy, and I took it, and it was amazing that working on my feet, I could have an emotional release. Probably the biggest one I had in school. And I thought, boy, if working on my feet can do that, that's amazing. And I got this interesting book called The Foot Book from Devika Berkson, and it was from a funky little health food store called Pepper's Health Food Store, and I loved the book because it showed an integrative technique. It was more than just the feet. There was some yoga, there was some diet, there was some affirmations, visualization. So it made sense to me to bring several things together. But what drove me crazy was the foot charts. I didn't like them. So I created my own foot chart.
And what did you like about the earlier foot charts or other ones then?
I didn't like where they put the large intestines. It didn't make sense to me. Just different points. They were like really confusing. They were all over the place. It wasn't easy to read. So I actually started drawing my own foot charts back in the early 80s. And I don't have any of them. Well, I have some downstairs, but you know, it's quite comical because I'm not a great artist. Thank God for graphic designers. They're great. They're great. So I'll move it here, move it there, and my latest rendition of the foot charts I feel really, really good about. So it's what my students tell me is it's the first really easy to read chart. And I didn't like how the neck was in some charts. I didn't like where the kidney was. And it didn't make sense as an x-ray tech. I mean, I saw inside the body, and why did this not match what I saw? So I tried to create what I saw in the body.
Yeah,
so that's how.
And those are your updated chart, reflexology charts in the back then, right?
Yes,
okay.
And Massage Warehouse sells them.
Okay.
And they're coming out in Spanish. Actually, they're already out in Spanish. They just don't have them yet.
Oh, they are?
Yep, I have foot chart in Spanish, and pretty soon my new DVD will be in Spanish too.
Well, yeah, that's definitely a language to get massage more into. Definitely.
Yes.
Yep. And then, do you have what other do you sell reflexology cards too at all, or?
I have little cards of the feet. I don't have hands yet because I haven't had the money to do that. But I have a new poster. I put it up over my shoulder.
Okay.
And I don't know how well you can see it with this, but so it's a cloth poster, which is really cool because you can move it around very easily, and it hangs nicely, and it's not plastic. Very easy to ship, so that's kind of nice too.
Yeah, it's not.
And that has the feet and the hands and the meridians, which 1/3 of my training in massage school was meridian based, and so I really felt that that was the basis of reflexology to me. The meridians on the fingers and toes.
And does it get confusing for some people because, again, with trigger point therapy, acupressure, all these different modalities out there, and then relating to the feet, I mean, is it just overwhelming to the average person, would you say? Or?
Well, possibly. Because what I do is I try to weave it together because I do use the fascial model. So Ida-Roth structural alignment is a big part of it. I mean, how you stand. I have a great story of a guy who had a heel spur, and he's in one of my classes, and so I saw his heel spur and kind of felt it, and it's painful, and that's the glutes. So I said, do you mind if I palpate your glutes? You know, and he's dressed, you know, so it's real easy. Just slip my hand right under the buttocks, and there's his wallet, right where his heel spur is, in the pelvis. His wallet created the heel spur. From a fascial perspective, that's really easy to describe. And students just like, it's like a light bulb goes off. They go, oh my God, it works. So, yeah, it does. Now we'll work on his heel spur, and he needs to do something with his wallet if he wants to keep it gone. But so that's one way to look at it. And then when you put the meridians in, it just amplifies the information, because meridians connect to muscles, emotions. So all of that's amazing and incredible. Zones are what most of the reflexology is based on, and I just think it sells it short. It puts it in a box, and it's not in a box. It's circular, it's open. It's the feet are a portal. They're a way of looking into the body. They're not for diagnosing, but it does give you information where to work and what to do. And then you have all these nerve endings, 100 to 200,000 nerve endings on the bottom of the feet. And that fascinates me. And then we have proprioceptors and, you know, molecules of emotions that Candace Pert talks about that flow through the nervous system. So where does it flow? It flows down to your feet. You know, it goes up to your brain, but there's the connection there. So weaving this all together actually is a holistic model of reflexology. And it's taken me years. I mean, years and years and years of study and reading and working with it. And actually, one of my students called Candace Pert up right in my class. And was like, oh my God, I want to work on her feet. So we'll see if I can make that happen. Because her work with proprioceptors fits with reflexology as well.
And early this year, I was in the Philippines, and that was their major style that they performed for most massage therapists was reflexology. So just because I think they couldn't afford massage tables, so a lot of times people just sit in massage, just regular chairs, and just prop your feet up, and then give them foot treatments that way and stuff. So
it's great.
Yeah.
Did you get one?
Yeah, many, and most of them were actually done in churches too. So what you do is, you donate half, or you give them a fee, and then half goes to the church and half goes to the massage therapist and stuff. So
that's beautiful.
Yep. So I mean, yeah, it was a little bit hard though. I mean, for the treatments, all of them were really deep. So they were, yeah. And is that typical with reflexology in a way? I mean,
well, I think it's a difference between Americans and Asians, because I bet their shoes are less padded and their feet are stronger.
Yeah.
Our feet are weaker, and so are our bodies too.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
True?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So their feet really make the micro movements. They really walk, you know, and feel their whole foot on the ground, where when we go into shoes, we don't feel it as well. And that's why I do a lot of the minimalist shoes. I think they're great. Or moccasins.
Okay.
Because you need that connection to the earth.
And do you get the same benefit out of massaging the hands compared to the feet, would you say?
I think the hands are a great adjunct to the feet, but gravity being what it is, it's constant down to the feet. The feet are the most powerful. I mean, the reflex points are on the ears, the hands, and the feet, but the feet are the most powerful. And it really, you can see the whole body on the feet. You can't really see the body as clearly on the hands. You can see it on the feet. You can see the curve of the spine with the arch. So it's yeah.
And do you think it's easier to treat the feet in the prone position or the supine position, or it doesn't matter then? Or?
Oh, face up. Face up.
Face up.
I mean, you can do some face down, but face down you don't breathe as well. I mean, you know, your face is in a face cradle, your sinuses don't feel as good, your chest doesn't open as well. So face up. You know, sitting in a chair is fine, but face up. I mean, you can, as I said, you can do some face down to check things and to work some stuff, but I don't like people that keep me face down too long.
And do you ever get into those reflexology chairs then?
Oh yeah, I got one in my house. It's great.
Okay.
It's really easy to travel with too. They're like the French lawn chairs, and they have a nice back. They call them the anti-gravity, or they have all different names for them. It came originally from a French lawn chair. La Fuma was the title. So they've gotten very popular. You can buy high-end to cheap ones. I prefer a bigger one, a good pad, good locks on it. But I do the Ronald McDonald Girls Just Want to Have Fun night. So I go in and work on all these their feet, and it's real easy to take places. So it's great for outfalls.
Yeah, and do you have a cup holder in yours too?
No.
Yeah, because I've seen some that actually have a cup holder in their reflexology chairs and stuff. So.
All right, so you could give them some tea while you're working on them.
Yep, exactly.
That's good. Not a beer or a glass of wine.
Yeah.
Although some probably do.
Yeah. And
what? Your liver point.
Yeah. And what are some contraindications and stuff with reflexology?
Well, one really big concern is diabetic feet. You've got to be very careful with diabetic feet. And I had one gentleman, I refused to work on him he just kept calling and calling and calling. I was like, no, I can't work on your feet. And he was insulin dependent. He was elderly. He'd been on insulin a long time. He had very poor circulation. So I didn't do reflexology. I did lymph drainage with castor oil. And he actually avoided amputation for 10 years with that method.
Oh, you did?
Lymphatic drainage and castor oil. Only one direction, your life. So he couldn't have reflexology. So you have to be very concerned. If they're diabetic and it's diet or tablet controlled, that's not a problem as much, but they can still be some neuropathy. But if they're insulin dependent, long-term, poor circulation, no reflexology. So that's a concern. Blood clots for everything. Cuts, bruises. Chemotherapy, you can do it and it helps, but you might want to wear gloves because the chemicals come out through the pores. And you have the largest pores on the bottoms of your feet. So you have to be careful with that.
And I've seen some people give reflexology treatments after people get off of airplanes. Is that recommended at all? Or, I mean, with deep vein thrombosis, sometimes that can happen over in long flights and stuff. Or
well, it's like one of those things. Do we really know for sure? It might prevent them. I mean, it could move one, or it might prevent one. If you move the fluids gently, it might actually help so that you don't continue to create it. Because some people who get a blood clot after an airplane ride, it's not right away. It's usually 12 hours or 24 hours later. But, the things for that is to keep your legs moving while you're on the plane. I pay extra for the longer, because I'm tall. I'll pay that little bit of extra and get more leg room now. And if you pump your feet, and make sure you stay hydrated. Because the two things that create blood clots, 2 of the 4, is dehydration, immobility, increased blood pressure, and then the blood clotting factor, which you would inherit.
Okay. And has there been a lot of research, would you say, in reflexology?
I don't think there's been enough, but I don't stay connected into the American Reflexology Association. And I'm sort of the renegade out there. I do not do the finger thumb walking method. God bless Eunice Ingham, but I don't do that, and I don't teach that. And personally, I don't think it's good for massage therapists. So actually, I'm going to AMTA in Raleigh, and a number of the classes I'm going to take are research, learning about research. So I would like to do that research. I would love to see that happen. And it doesn't matter which method you do in terms of its effectiveness. I just prefer, of course, but I do.
Yeah.
Don't we all?
Yeah. And do you use lubrication, oils, creams, lotions? Or?
I do. Yeah. Yes, I have an awesome Sweet Feet cream, which is shea butter and castor oil. and my good buddy Cynthia Loving, an aromatherapist who you also know.
Yep.
And she, if I could speak boldly, I love Cynthia. She goes, we were at this conference together, and she looked at my cream, and she said, Claire, your cream is crap. And I said, okay, my cream is crap. Then you have to make me one that isn't, and it has to have castor oil. And that's how we came up with our Sweet Feet cream, which is a bestseller. Sells every time I go anywhere, I sell out. It's awesome cream. I use it as a face cream. I don't know how I'm looking, but you know, getting close to 60.
I thought you were 40.
Yeah, so it's a great combination, and I'm just a major. You've heard me talk about castor oil, so I believe in its hydrating and lymphatic movement. I have seen it take bruises away. Put the Sweet Feet cream on bruises, and they're like gone in 20 minutes. It's pretty amazing, and it hydrates the feet. And so the feet have all that lymphatic down there. That's why your feet swell, you know, on an airplane. And so you need to move the fluids up, and the castor oil helps move the fluids up. And that's what helps the diabetic feet as well. I believe lymph drainage with castor oil could help diabetic feet a lot. And family members should know to do it because it should be done daily.
Yeah, and then
so yes, I do love my cream, and it has such a great glide on the feet. It lasts pretty much the whole session.
And what, I mean, when I was going through massage school, every now and then I would hear about castor oil, but nowadays I hardly ever hear about it. Why is that, you think?
I have no clue. They're not in my class, because if they're in my class, they get the castor oil. Everybody gets it. Yep. Every class. I was blessed to meet Hugh Lynn Cayce, Edgar's son. Edgar Cayce, who made it very popular, Association for Research and Enlightenment, Virginia Beach.
Oh, you did?
And
oh,
so
cool.
Pardon me?
Cool. That's awesome.
It was very cool. He died 6 months after that.
Okay.
Edgar's son passed 6 months after I met him.
Uh-huh.
So I was very blessed to meet him. He was well into his 80s. And I went through a snowstorm to get to him.
Yes, I would have too.
I do that a lot. Snowstorms are important to me.
Yeah, wasn't he known as the sleeping prophet or something? Or
yes,
yeah.
There's a book called The Sleeping Prophet.
Yeah,
that's by Jess Stern. Yep.
Yeah, and have you seen reflexology change since you started learning about it in the 70s? Then.
Oh, yes. I think there's definitely more groups out there doing a whole variety of things. And I hear about different things. And, you know, when you're teaching and traveling and doing your own work, you don't always get to go and take other classes. But Inga Dugans wrote The Art of Reflexology, and she included the meridians. And I'm very impressed with her book. I really like it a lot. I've heard about this one guy from Spain who was a physician, and one of my students took classes with him. And he actually doesn't use a chart. He has people just draw on the feet where they think things are. And he came up behind my student. He said, this woman has the closest chart. And it was my chart. So that was pretty gratifying. I've heard of one lady, Lone Sorensen, has come over from Spain, and she's teaching in our area. But she tried to do facial reflexology, and the board kind of X'd that because it went past the feet and the hands. Mildred Carter wrote body reflexology, which is really acupressure. So there's, again, that sense of, you know, the points on the face, the points in the body, they do connect with the meridian system.
Yeah, and I've even heard of, there's a vertical reflexology. Have you heard of that? Where people are actually standing up and then you're massaging when they're standing?
Really?
Yeah. It's a lot
I haven't heard that one. Wow,
yeah,
I'll have to Google it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's new one on me.
Yeah.
So you massage them while they're standing on their feet.
Yep.
Put your hand under them and they stand on your hands?
Yeah, I remember reading an article back in the day about it and stuff, and yeah, and sometimes they would just have them like have their one foot up on a stool too and stuff, and yeah, so different kind of things.
That's interesting, but I'm not sure I would like it to receive it that way. I
No.
like to relax.
Yeah.
So, but they have stroll paths. They have these reflexology walkways. I'd love to build one. And it's a variety of different things that you can do. So, yeah, I think that would be really fun to do. Like mulches and sand and some small stones and some bigger stones, and you walk barefoot on all these different surfaces, and it wakes up all that reflexology areas in your body.
And do you get into magnets too then, or?
I think magnets are really interesting. I don't really do them, but that doesn't mean there isn't something to it. Have you heard of earthing?
No, I haven't.
Is that okay? So there's a book out called Earthing, and I've been turned on to it for a while, and it's the magnetic energy, the electrical energy that needs to discharge in our body down to the earth. Like electricity needs to be grounded. And so this man has developed a system where you can actually plug into the ground, and you have a mat on your bed or under your feet, and it helps to pull the electricity out of our body from the electromagnetic pollution and helps to ground us. So he says, you know, how do you feel when you're standing in the sand or when you're standing on earth and you're in bare feet? You feel connected, you feel grounded. And he said, we're missing that. So I think in most things we're recreating nature. So there's a whole book on earthing and what it can do. And have you heard of Dr. James Oshman?
No, I haven't.
He wrote a little bit. He wrote Energetic Medicine. So I just took a class with him at the Body Therapy Institute, Rick Rosen and Carrie Smith's school. Excellent school. And oh my gosh, the class was amazing. And he's in the earthing book. And so again, there was another way to talk about how it's important that our feet connect to earth. And he says when you travel, if you get outside, take your shoes off and put your feet on the ground, you kind of sync your energy.
It'll just be one moment. We're just trying to connect again.
All right.
Hello?
Anyway, it's a great book, Earthing. And also Dr. James Oshman wrote Energetic Medicine and a new book called Therapeutics and Movement, Energy Medicine with that. So very fascinating person. You should get him on.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, because it seems like reflexology is definitely going more mainstream, would you say, in the last few years? Or?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Everybody asks for it. I'm very blessed that way because I've taught at a lot of spas, and it's very popular. People love it. I mean, if your feet feel good, your body feels great.
And is it hard to talk people into like a full hour of reflexology, or?
Oh, no.